Did you ever go through something that didn't seem to have a name in the beginning? You saw the signs, but you didn't know what you were going through, and just after a while, you figured out that it might have been depression. Well, it happened to me, and in the beginning, I didn't know what was happening, and just after a while, or after a little bit, I figured out that it was depression. And to me, it came in the form of postpartum depression. And I think I was afraid to call it that, or I was afraid to call it by name because I felt that people would judge me, that I'm not a good mother if I go through postpartum depression, that I'm a weak person, that I don't know how to control my own feelings and emotions, and it was quite a struggle. But I think if I would have recognized it from the beginning, I could have taken some measures. I think a lot of the women that I talked to that had kids, or at least a number of them, went through something similar and didn't know in the beginning that they were going through PPD, postpartum depression, and I was one of them. And I think what was the most triggering part of my depression was the lack of sleep. After I gave birth, I expected to be overwhelmed with feelings of gratefulness, probably of happiness. Of course I was grateful, and there were moments when I was happy, but I felt the blues a little bit more, and I started asking myself, well, what is this that I'm feeling? Why am I not like over the moon? Because I have a baby that we really wanted. And I remember in the first days after I brought Elsa home, I was looking at her. She was laying on the bed next to me, and I asked Gabi, who is this little person that took over my life, and what is she doing here? I mean, of course she was my daughter, she was our child, and I loved her, and everything about her was really cute and nice, but I felt a stranger, or I felt that she was a stranger in my life. And I started from that point on, I started to feel a little bit embarrassed that I had those feelings, because I said, okay, when you want a child, when you want something really bad in your life, and I finally got it. We received Elsa. I said, okay, but why am I feeling all these things that seem inadequate for such a joyful time? I thought. And I started almost feeling ashamed, even before Gabi, ashamed because I have these feelings. And little by little, I started talking to him about what I was feeling, and he was really supportive, and he really tried to understand what I was going through. And I didn't feel like he was judging me. Probably he didn't really understand, because, I mean, who can really understand what you're going through when you have such a low period? But at least he tried, and I saw that he was doing his best to try to understand and to comfort me and to help me as much as he could with Elsa, which he did. But one thing that I would do differently, or if I would have another child or a biological child, is accept help from people who want to help you. Because I remember my mom asked me while I was still pregnant, hey, do you want me to come to Germany and help you with the child once you give birth? And I said, no, Mom, I think we have it under control. Me and Gabi, we're gonna manage, we're gonna do fine. I mean, we're adults, we're young, we have energy. And I said, thanks, but no thanks. And my mom said, okay, if you change your mind, just let me know. And I said, thanks, Mom, but I think I have it. So I gave birth, and Gabi stayed the first week at home with me, and then he had to go to work, and then my mother-in-law came, and she stayed through 3 weeks with us, which was really helpful. And I remember she did everything to help me in every way she could, but I still felt like something was wrong. It was wrong with me, not with her or with Gabi or with people who were around me. I didn't feel right. And I remember the last day when my mother-in-law spent with us. She went to the airport, and the moment she went through the door and went out, I think I started crying, because I asked myself, what am I going to do with a child that I was breastfeeding almost hourly? And I remember calling Gabi and crying on the phone and telling him, well, I'm alone now. What am I supposed to do with the child? I have to cook, I have to clean, I have to sleep if I can. I have to take care of this little baby. Who is going to help me? Because you're at work 8 hours a day. And he said, we'll try to go through this together, and I'll try to help you as much as I can, and we'll try to manage. And I believed him, but I still felt alone with a really small baby in a country that wasn't mine, with few friends. I had some friends. I can't say I didn't have friends, but my friends were going through like same challenges because they had small children as well, and we were a couple of mothers with really small children, babies actually, and we were trying to support each other and like send encouraging messages to one another. But I think I needed help. And I didn't know who to ask. I think what would have helped me was someone coming and just taking care of Elsa for a few hours so I could sleep, because sleeplessness for me was such a big issue. And people who know me, they know that I usually that I used to take naps, and that I like to be fresh and not tired. And I know like everybody doesn't want to be tired, but the sleeplessness that I went through in the first months after Elsa was born was so bad. I remember there was one day and Gabi said, look, I'm coming home from work, I'm going to take Elsa for a couple of hours, and you can try to sleep and relax and chill down and do whatever you want. And he came home and he took Elsa and he said, look, I'm going to be away for 2 hours so you can sleep and get some rest. And I remember trying to fall asleep and I just couldn't. I couldn't fall asleep. Thoughts were running through my head like crazy, like on the German Autobahn. I couldn't stop them. I couldn't fall asleep. After 1 hour I said, God, please help me fall asleep. I want to sleep, and I couldn't. And then 1 hour and a half, and after 2 hours I called Gabi and I said, you know something, you can come home. I just cannot fall asleep. I couldn't help myself fall asleep. And I think at that point I should have reached out to probably a doctor or something that could have given me some probably sleeping pills, or I have no idea what they do to help women who have this issue after they give birth. But I didn't, because I said, okay, it's gonna go away, I'm gonna sleep again, I'm gonna fall asleep again, I'm gonna get some rest. I didn't know when, but I just hoped I will. Another thing that made me feel even more guilty was the fact that I was talking to friends who were going, like I said, through similar phases in their lives, and one of them was saying, I'm so happy, I'm ecstatic, I'm so in love with my baby's the best baby, my baby sleeps, eats, doesn't cry, doesn't do anything. And I said, okay, but is anyone helping you? Oh, it's just my mom, and she just cleans and cooks, but other than that, it's me alone. And I said, okay, but just cleaning and cooking is such a big help. And I think I was, I don't know if envious of her, or I think I wanted the same kind of help. And I felt like she just was probably unaware of the help that she was getting, and I probably felt a little bit envious, because in my head was like, yeah, she just has someone who helps her cook and clean, and that's such a big part in a mother's life with a small baby, and it's a really big help. And at that point I said, God, help me to not judge women who are going through similar phases. Help me be happy for the fact that they're doing well and they're happy and they're ecstatic and their babies are doing fine and they sleep and they rest and they look good, and everything that, I don't know, everything that I didn't have, they seem to have it. And I remember talking to a relative of mine, and she was asking me how I was doing, and because I didn't want to start crying on the phone, I said, I think I'm doing okay, it's not that bad, I mean, I think good times will come. And she said, well, you seem like you have it all together, so I think you're fine. And I remember after I hung up the phone, I started crying, because I said, why am I faking it? Why am I thinking something that is not real? I mean, I wasn't doing good at all, and actually I was doing pretty bad, and I think I was crying all day long. Okay, not all day long, but I was crying pretty often because of hormones, because of everything. And Gabi was asking me in that period, so like, should we try to buy a house here in Germany? Should we try to settle here for good? And I said no, 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 with all my heart, because I felt so alone. And I said, I don't want to feel so alone here in Germany. I don't want to be alone here in Germany. I don't want to live in a country where I have no relatives. And I just said no. And after a while, I said, okay, let's think about it. Let's see if you find something. But I'm not really eager to spend my life here. And I just couldn't see past that period where Elsa was really small, didn't sleep so good, and I didn't sleep so good, like I said. So it was just, I think I was pretty negative. But now that I look back, I mean, that's how I felt. And I shouldn't blame myself, and now I don't blame myself because of what I felt. And like I said, the lack of sleep was the biggest trigger for my postpartum depression. And I remember one night, I think Elsa was a month and a half or two or something like that. She would wake up in the night, I think every hour and a half, and I breastfed her, and I couldn't fall asleep between her breastfeeding sessions. And at one point, I just told Gabi, I started crying, and I told him, look, I need to sleep. Like, I need to sleep. Do whatever you want. I used to pump milk, and I told him, do whatever you want. I want to sleep. Like, I want to sleep. And what was probably worse was that we had a really small apartment, and I couldn't escape in any other room other than the room that Elsa was sleeping in, because I wanted to have some quietness. I wanted to stop hearing her cry, because I just couldn't take it anymore. And I remember that this period took about 5 months. And after 5 months, I told Gabi, I have to go to the States, I have to go to my mom, and I have to go get some help because I can't carry on like this. So he said, okay, and we bought a ticket. And I remember 3 or 4 nights before my flight, I had such bad nights, like the ones before, but these ones were even more stressful, because I said I have to get some rest so I will be able to travel with Elsa so many hours. And the exact night before my flight, I think I slept for 3 hours, and I was like sleep deprived in a big way. And I remember going to the airport, and the guy from the check-in asked me, like, where are you going? What are you doing? And I said, I want to go to the States to my mom. I need some help. And he said, like, what kind of help? I said, I need help with my daughter because I just want to sleep. And he was really nice, and he said, I totally understand. We have a small child as well, and it's really hard. And I remember getting on the airplane and just wishing that Elsa would sleep a little bit. And when we got to the States and I met my sister, I just told her, look, I'm just gonna start crying because I'm so tired. I'm so tired. There's nothing else I can do except just cry and let it all out. And she was really understanding. And once I got to my parents' home, and after a few days, after the jet lag went away, and they started taking care of Elsa and just giving me some time for myself, I could start sleeping again. And I was so grateful that I was able to fall asleep again and just sleep. And I remember I was also stressed because it wasn't that I couldn't let go of Elsa. Of course I couldn't let go of her. It's just that I wasn't used to letting other people take care of her, because I had to be with her all day long because I was breastfeeding her exclusively. And I told my mom, look mom, after an hour and a half you have to come home with her, because they went for walks and so. You have to come home because I have to breastfeed her because she's gonna be hungry. She was 5 months old. And my mom said, yeah, don't worry about it, we're gonna come. And then I fell asleep, and after 2 hours I looked at the clock and I said, oh my goodness, where's Elsa? I have to feed her. And my mom said, look, we took care of it. We just gave her some bottled milk, and she took it, and you can sleep now. And I felt like the sky was falling on me, because I said, what kind of mother am I who's giving her bottled milk when I breastfeed her? Because it was this pressure of just breastfeeding exclusively, which is it's such a big pressure, and it's such an unrealistic expectation to have from a mother. And I felt this pressure and this expectation, and I said, she's not gonna die. I mean, if she's fine, if she's still living, I got my sleep and it's all fine. But I remember my sister told me, look, chill, relax. No baby died because of bottled milk, and a lot of babies drink from the bottle right from the beginning, and it's fine and it's absolutely no problem. It was just another myth that I had to destroy in my head, because I don't know, I just let other people's expectations get to me, and I said I have to stop doing that, and I have to start doing things for myself that are good for me, that are helping me get through this period. And little by little I started learning how to let go and how to let other people take care of Elsa, and just trying to be a little less harsh on myself and just go along with the flow. I know that not all women go through this kind of postpartum depression, but the ones who go through it, and if you're one of those, or if you've gone through this, or if you're going to have a child and you might have the same feelings of inadequacy, what I would recommend, or at least what I would do differently if I would go through this again, would be just ask for help. Ask for help. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. It's good to ask for help, and I think a lot of people are really waiting to help people who go through similar experiences. And I think if you know someone who gave birth, or like a person who has a small child or a small baby, just ask her if she needs anything, or if you could help her in some way, because I would have been really happy if I would have been asked these questions. And yeah, just ask for help. There's no shame in asking for help. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have similar experiences, let me know what you went through, and see you next time.